Fine. Good morning, students. So welcome to the new course, Basic Electronics. The subject code is 18ELN24. So this is Dr. Sandhya Das, Associate Professor from Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. So just to brief about me, I have around 19 years of experience, and I completed my PhD in 2018 in biomedical signal processing stream. I have a couple of papers published in my name in few of journals and conferences. And to tell about those subjects I have handled, I've handled basic electronics more than 6-7 times. And to name other subjects, I'm good at microprocessor, microcontrollers, then embedded systems, real-time operating systems, power electronics, optical electronics, and to name a few of them. All right. So that was just a brief introduction of mine, and I hope you guys have seen me in college. Since we are in online mode, we are not able to see face to face, right? So let's see, let's hope for the best, and we'll meet offline very soon, right? Okay, so 55 are here. I hope you're able to see the slides there. So just for your information, I'll be going into slideshow mode, and I'll be not able to track this Google tab. So if you have any queries, or if you want to interrupt me, or if you're not able to hear me in between, you have to unmute yourself and speak out, okay? If you type in the chat, I'll not be able to see the chat, okay? Because I'll be going for full screen mode. All right, so basic electronics, as you know, it is common subject in first and second semester, where you'll have the subject code here in second semester as 18ELN24, right? So similar to other subjects, what you have, there will be internal marks of 40, that is continuous internal assessment will be for 40, which will be including 30 marks of your internal tests and 10 of the assignments or the activity or quizzes what we conduct. All right. So the semester end exam marks will be for 60, right? So the teaching hours, as you can see here, it is the lectures will be 2 per week and tutorials 2. So totally you'll have 4 sessions in a week. So you're aware of the question paper pattern in the final semester end exam, which you'll be writing for 100 marks, but that will be scaled down to 60 to add up with the continuous internal assessment marks of 40. Okay, and all these are, you're already familiar. Each module will have 2 questions, totally 5 full questions of 20 marks each. So electronics, you know that we are already living in an age of information technology, right? So electronics looks to be or seems to be the foundation of information and computer age. So whatever the advancements you can see in communication or computers, these are all possible because of the great successes that are achieved in the field of electronics. So the examples can be the different types of electronic gadgets what we carry each day, right? There are the few examples of the success story what I'm talking about. So you're well aware that electronics has made deep impact in several areas you might have encountered, whereas in your healthcare or medical diagnosis and treatment, or say travel, whether it is air or space, or automobiles, etc. Name a thing and you have electronics there, right? So what do I mean here? In short, the technological development of any country, to name as such, in the globe is directly related to its strength in electronics design, manufacture, products, and services. I hope you all agree with this. So this brings to us face-to-face question as to how and why to learn basic electronics or the basic concepts of electronics as such. So for this, one should acquire practical knowledge of the different devices. Practical knowledge means you should be familiar with the characteristics of different devices, right? And their construction, obviously. You should know the construction and characteristics of the different devices, what we name. So if one wants to gain good understanding of electronics, then he or she should build circuits and test them independently, right? So for that, VTO has already prescribed in the syllabus that students are expected to design circuits. So the few of the circuits are named here, 5 different circuits. So you are asked to design circuits so that you learn things practically, all right? So as we are familiar that any electronic circuit, to name as such, there will be different components, right? So when you design the circuit with the trial and error or the mistakes, you learn how the different devices work, okay? So since we are in online mode, first we will start up with some simulation experiments, okay? But as we go offline, I will be expecting at least 2 of these circuits, any two from this 5 list here, you have to design circuit, say by the end of the semester, okay? So all these different components, what you can see here, whether it is a rectifier, filter, or LED, or IC, IC741 or 555, all these you'll be studying in this course, okay? So pick up any 2 circuits and you'll be designing the circuits. So that will be part of your continuous assessment process, okay? So these are the different textbooks. I've already shared the course information in the Google Classroom. Those who have not checked yet, please go through. So the textbooks and reference books are referred here, and you can go through. You can download also few of them. So what are you actually trying to learn?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, your slideshow isn't visible here. We are only seeing the first page.
Is it? Okay.
It's visible now.
Now it is visible. When I'm in full screen, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what was the problem. This happened to me in the previous class as well. When I went to full screen mode, the slides were not. Is it visible now? Are you able to see the slides now?
It's visible now.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Who is this? Sean, thank you. Sean Leslie, thank you. Okay, so I will be sharing those slides again in Google Classroom. You can go through later. So what all I was expecting to say here, it is already covered in 5 slides, okay? So let me continue. So here, what is expected from the completion of the course is that first you will be able to demonstrate about the working of PN junction and its application, that is circuits, rectifier circuits, filters, or regulator circuits. And you will be able to know the working principles of different devices like JFET, MOSFET, or SCR. Then you will also be able to illustrate the working principles of op-amps and different of its applications. including inverting and non-inverting circuits. You'll be able to summarize the feedback amplifiers and oscillators. And coming to digital electronics, you'll be able to describe the construction and working of different combinational and sequential logic circuits using flip-flops. Okay, so here you'll be learning different number system, conversion of numbers from one system to another. Then you'll be learning different logic circuits as such, how it works and all. And finally, you will be able to design and construct basic electronic circuits, simple circuits as such. So by the end of this course, you will have to achieve all these course outcomes. So you will be able to come up with these outcomes as you complete the semester with this course. So by the end of this class, this session, you'll be able to describe the term electronics, list some of the electronic components, and differentiate between active and passive elements. Are we good at this stage? Can I proceed? Can anyone? Okay, now quickly, I would like you to list some of the components of what you're familiar. Electronic components, just say 2 or 3. Enter in the chat box, which I'll be able to take down later, and which will be considered just what I get the response from 10:09 to 10:10. Within 1 minute, how many responses I'll get, that will be considered as your attendance. Okay. Okay, let me see how many of you will answer within 10 to 10:10. Good. I'm getting good number of responses here. Yeah, very good. Fine. Okay. So this will be the process. Every time in the class, in between, there will be poll questions, which you'll be answering, and that will be considered for your attentiveness in the class. Okay. So this will be the tradition or the process of online class. Okay, fine. Yes, I think most of you have answered. Yeah, very good. Vineet, very good. I have many components there. Yes. Okay, thank you. So you're all attentive and you're being listening to me. Yes, thank you. Okay, we'll proceed. Yeah. So as you're already familiar, let us just start. Basically, we have to start with introduction, right? Let us formally start what is electronics and so on. So electronics, as we are aware, it is the science of how to control electrical energy, right? So here energy means it is the flow of electrons, what we are talking about. So overall, electronics is nothing but how are you controlling, how are you able to control these flow of electrons? Flow of electrons, if you are able to control, say, in other words, in a simple language, common language, we are saying we can control the current in a circuit, right? So how do we do that? It depends on different active electrical components. It can be through transistor, diodes, or integrated circuits, or vacuum tubes, along with different passive electrical components and interconnection technology, right? So when I say active or passive electrical components, what are active components? We are familiar. Active components are those that deliver or produce energy, right? Or power in the form of, say, voltage or current. Whereas passive components, we are familiar that they utilize or store energy in the form of voltage or current. Or in a simple language to say, passive components, they're not capable of providing any sort of energy of their own, isn't it? They depend on the active elements or the active components. So active devices, they have the ability to electrically control the electric charge flow, right? So let's go through some of the electronic components here. So this one is transformer, you're already familiar. Transformer is a electrical device that transfers electrical energy to one or more circuits through electromagnetic induction, right? So commonly we are familiar that transformers are used to increase or decrease the voltage of AC, or the alternating current in the electrical circuit. So in a simple language to say, transformers we use to efficiently change AC voltage from one voltage level to another. Yeah, it can be a step up or step down transformer, right? We are already familiar about those things. And the figure what you can see here, and you are able to identify, I guess it is a integrated circuit, which is a small electronic device made of semiconductor material. So when the name integrated, it is obvious that it includes so many circuits inside it, right? So we are aware that some knowledge we have that in an integrated circuit, there will be different combination of circuits with different applications and tasks or the functions that is integrated on a single chip made of semiconductor material, right? And we are familiar, like ICs are used in a variety of devices where you might be familiar with microprocessor, microcontroller, or you might have seen in audio or video equipments or automobiles or any other home appliances. You are already familiar with this. What is this? A multimeter, a digital multimeter, right? Voltometer, also called as voltometer, is a measuring instrument that combines several measurement functions in one unit. So this can be used to measure, say, resistance. Some come with capacitance. Some multimeters also come with where you can measure the frequency. Just turning the knobs in the center there, you can measure the resistance. So there are probes provided there. So accordingly, as you shift the knob to different location or the position, you will be able to measure, say, voltage or current. I hope you have used and you're familiar with that. Yeah, we are discussing few of the components here. Okay. Now quickly match the following here. Now we have discussed transformer, IC, and multimeter. Write your response in the chat box. What type of device is or to which category do they belong, whether it is a active component or passive component? Transformer, IC, and multimeter. You can reply in the chat box. You can say one, you can use 1B, 1C, 1, 3, 1, something like that. You need not type the whole thing. Okay, only few answers. Those who are attentive and listening will be able to answer. Good. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I'm getting replies there. So based on your response, I repeat, your attendance will be considered. Okay. So I will not be in a, I don't believe in calling out names and taking attendance. So this is the process where I track the attendance. Okay. And that too within a time constraint. Yes, 1 minute. Fine. All right. Thank you. So you've been listening. Now, these are capacitors. We are already familiar. Capacitors is a two-terminal electronic component used to store electrical energy temporarily in a electric field, right? And as you can see here, there are different varieties of capacitors there. The common two types are ceramic and electrolytic type capacitors. Next are resistors, again a two-terminal electrical component that implements electrical resistance as a circuit element, right? So we are familiar that resistors act to reduce the current flow in the circuit. So at the same time, it lowers the voltage level in the circuit, right? And as you can see here, there will be different color codes there. Based on the color code, you'll be able to identify or give the value of the resistor there. I hope you are familiar with that. If you're not, then you have to just go back and refresh your basics, okay? Then comes the next device, diode, which is again a two-terminal electronic component with asymmetric conductance. That is, it has low resistance in one direction and very high resistance in the other. In a simple language to say, diodes, its common function is to allow electric current in one direction while blocking current in the opposite direction. So the coding, what you can see here, there on the figure there, on the right hand side, if the silver coating indicates that the terminal is cathode, and the other way around, it is anode, right? Next is a simple component which we are all familiar when we have seen these components in most of the electronics components. That is LED, light emitting diode, which is a type of diode that emits light when current passes through it, right? And as you can observe, there are of different colors. The longer lead is an anode terminal and the shorter one will be cathode. So we will be studying all these different components there. And finally, just to keep you in the track that the common component what we are familiar with is a transistor, which is again a semiconductor device used to amplify, or it is also used as a switch in electronic circuits. So in the figure, you can identify that it has 3 leads there. So it's made of semiconductor material and there will be 3 terminals, right? So my intention of you to take you through all these different components is that finally the electronic circuits, what we are familiar, they can be broadly classified into active components or passive components, okay, or active or passive elements. So the list is shown here, the few of them as an example. So active elements are those which are able to produce energy to another circuit in the form of voltage or current, right? Whereas the passive elements cannot supply any type of energy, whether it is voltage or current. Active elements can control the current direction, whereas passive elements are not capable of controlling the current on their own, okay? Then these active elements, as you can see them here on the left hand side, they are mainly used for current control or voltage control applications. Whereas passive elements, they are simply used for energy storage, discharge, oscillating, say filtering, and or phase shifting applications, okay? And the examples are already quoted there. But here I would like to bring to your notice that a diode, which is placed in the active category, it can be active or passive depending upon its property, okay? So a simple normal PN junction diode, it is actually termed as a passive element because once it is turned on, you can it allows the current to flow in only one direction, right? and it cannot control the current. So that's why it comes in the category of passive. Whereas a tunnel diode or the Zener diode, they come into active element category because of their negative resistance property. Okay, so based on this, based on the different category here, on the left hand side, leaving battery, you will be studying all these components in the course. Okay, along with these, few more added with these. Okay, and along with the devices, you will be studying different circuits. Okay, using the different active components in the circuit, how the circuit works, whether it is a, say, rectifier circuit or oscillator circuit. So all these things we'll be studying in this course. Okay, so broadly, we can say basic electronic can be categorized into, say, components or devices, measuring instruments, and circuits. So as I mentioned here, components or devices can be active or passive, as we have gone through now, the list of them. Then measuring instruments, all these power supply or the multimeters or the function generators, all these come under measuring instruments. And the circuits, what I just mentioned, whether it is rectifier circuit, amplifier, oscillators, or filter circuit, they all come under circuits category. Okay. So in this course, mainly we will be studying about different active devices. All right. So module 1 is typically dedicated to PN junction diode, its characteristics and working. So along with that, you will be studying some ICs there. Then LED, photodiode, phototransistors, and all will be covered in module 1. In module 2, you will be studying about FETs, field effect transistors, where you will be studying the construction and characteristics of JFET, MOSFET, and silicon control rectifier, SCRs. The third module is dedicated for op-amps, its different circuits and its applications. And fourth module, you'll be studying digital electronics, as I mentioned earlier, about different number systems, conversions, flip-flops, different logic circuits, and their application, how it works and all. And the last module will be about mobile communication and the basics of communication system, the block diagram, including the block diagram of the communication system. So that is how this course is designed. And as I mentioned, you'll be having 3 tests here, 3 internal tests. In between, there will be assignments, quizzes conducted, and there will be activity, which I call it as, say, the assignment activity. So you will be given with, say, you can use simulators, different simulators to rig up a circuit, understand the characteristics and working of particular device, and give a report on that. So that will be part of the activity, assignment activity. And after we go offline, you will be designing 2 circuits. Okay, so that's about, yes. Okay, Wilson, tell me. You can unmute and speak. You have any query, Wilson?
No, ma'am. Mistakenly.
Okay, no problem. You are there. Fine. Yes. So I hope I've been I was able to give you a glimpse of the course with the introduction of basic components, right? Do you have anything to ask or to share or say here? Anyone has any query? Okay. Now we have understood that the resistors and capacitors come into which category? Can you type the answer there?
Passive.
Passive, yes. No, I want your attendance there. Within few seconds, how many of you will respond? Let me see. Okay, the next question follows with that. Multimeter belongs to which category now? Initially, you answered as don't know. Now tell me, multimeter belongs to which category? Okay, I'm not getting answer for multimeter here. Which category? Yes. Anyone has anything to say here? Vivian D'Souza, yes, tell me. Vivian, you want to say something? Oh, good. Kate Pereira, thank you. Revan, yes, correct. Anusha, correct. Bhumika, correct. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, stop answering. Only these people will be considered for being attentive. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Those who had run away, now they're coming back and answering, I guess. All right. Yeah. Okay. So now we know that passive elements, they can only attenuate the electrical voltage or current, right? And they cannot amplify. Okay. Whereas the active elements like transistors or op-amps, we know that they can amplify or increase the amplitude of a signal and also its energy, right? So, and energy associated with the signal. So in this course, you will be studying about rectifiers, amplifiers, oscillators under different category of circuits. So as a prerequisite for this course on basic electronics, a knowledge of general principles of electricity and magnetism is assumed. Okay, assuming that you know what is the basic principles of electricity and magnetism, we will continue in the next class with a detail on PN junction diode. Okay. I think that is all for the introduction of basic electronics. If you have anything to ask me, you are welcome to do so. Is there any query?
Ma'am, I can write in a road book.
I didn't get you. What is that you said? Ashwija.
Ma'am, can we write our notes in a road book?
Yeah, yes, you can. But there is no strict constraint as such. You can write in any type. Any other query? Yeah, here see, as it is an online mode and it is like a one-way communication, it should not happen like that. You have to interact whenever you have any say problem or you're not able to understand, you have to unmute and stop the lecturer and ask questions, okay? And it is not that you're, yes, can you please share the PPT on Google? Yes, I will be sharing all the PPTs and different study materials week-wise. I'll be sharing all in Google Classroom, okay? And as I said, most of the interaction will be through Google Classroom, all right? And of course, on WhatsApp group as well. But important formal communication will be through Google Classroom. So all are required to go through your Google Classroom on a regular basis. Okay. WhatsApp will be only used for instant messages. Okay. But announcements and all will be in Google Classroom. Is that clear? Any other thing you want to ask? You are free to do so. Feel free. Unless and until you speak, your mind will not be revealed. What's going on in your head should be revealed. If you have any query, you have to ask. Okay? And don't worry about the material and all. I will share all the reading materials on the Google Classroom. Okay? Even if there are any good videos which will help you to understand the concept clearly, I will share the link in the Google Classroom where you can go to that website or the video and watch the video. Please feel free to speak. Okay? Yes, Ashwija?
About the simulation that you told, right?
Yes.
I can which website are we doing that? Can I know about that?
Yeah, I'll let you know. Generally, I would prefer multi-SIM. Okay, I would let you know if I find some any other freely downloadable thing and all. I'll let you know. Don't worry about that at this stage. Okay, all information will be given to you. Okay, we will end this first class. Okay. Assuming that you have got a glimpse of basic electronics and you're familiar with the introduction part, we will move on. We'll continue our class tomorrow. Okay? All right.